Alrighty, Pretender here, back with another Honkai Star build guide, and today I'm going to be providing a full build guide on the 4-star character Pela. Pela has been seeing a lot more popularity due to the fact that she is going to be a very good option with Acheron, who is the upcoming 5-star Nihility Lightning character, releasing on the first part of the 2.1 update. Pela is one of the best options you can run with her, and today I'm providing a full guide on how you can optimally build your Pela to prepare for Acheron. Pela is a very good option not only with Acheron, but just in any team in general due to the fact of what she does. And this guide will give you the best build on how you can effectively run her with Acheron, but this build guide will also be good for anyone who wants to run her in general. And so this video I'm going to be going over Pela's kit, Pela's eidolons, her best Lightcones, her best relics, and her best relic stats. Because Pela is a very good universal unit, the way you're going to build her here will be good for other teams as well, not just Acheron. And so yeah, before I get to the video, if you guys could drop a sub for future videos like this, along with other types of guides, Honkai Star news, showcases, summons, crazy other stuff, I don't know, and yeah, that would be greatly appreciated, and let's get straight into the video. So Pela is a ice type character following the path of Nihility. Her basic attack deals ice damage equal to 100% of Pela's attack to a single target enemy. Her skill removes one buff and deals ice damage equal to 210% of Pela's attack to a single target enemy. And now her ult, which is a very good ult. Deals ice damage equal to 100% of Pela's attack to all enemies with a 100% base chance to inflict exposed on all enemies. When exposed, enemies' defense is reduced by 40% for 2 turns. And obviously defense lowering is really good in this game, and getting a whopping 40% lower on their enemy's defense is really good for not only Acheron, because this would apply a debuff, charging Acheron's ult, making her do more damage as well. It also helps any other DPS to do more damage. Her talent, if the enemy is debuffed after Pela's attack, Pela will restore 10 energy. This effect can only be triggered one time per attack, so with this, it's really easy to gain some uptime on your ultimate. Her technique immediately attacks the enemy, and upon entering battle, Pela deals ice damage equal to 80% of her attack to a random enemy with a 100% base chance of lowering the defense of all enemies by 20% for 2 turns. So even more of a defense lower with her technique. Her bonus ability, first one, using a skill to remove buffs, increases the damage of the next attack by 20%. The second bonus ability, when Pela is on the battlefield, all allies' effect hit rate increases by 10%. Third bonus ability deals 20% more damage to debuffed enemies, which this part is kind of whatever because she herself isn't the DPS. The second bonus ability is really good, just giving everyone effect hit rate. And since you're going to be wanting to give her some effect hit rate because you want to make sure you do apply the debuff every time, this is really good. Going over her eidolons, her first eidolon, when an enemy is defeated, Pela regenerates 5 energy. Second eidolon, using a skill to remove buffs, increases speed by 10% for 2 turns. Fourth eidolon, this one is really good for anyone that is ice, so if you're using it with someone like Jinglu, this is really good, and this is also really good with Acheron, because the skill originally doesn't apply a debuff, but with eidolon 4, you now apply a debuff. What it does is when the skill is used, there's a 100% base chance to reduce the target enemy's ice res by 12% for 2 turns. So Acheron is lightning, and so she doesn't benefit from the ice res being lowered, but the fact that this counts as a debuff helps Acheron charge her ult, so this is really good. And if you're using it with someone like Jinglu, this does become useful because lower ice res, Jinglu will do more damage. Her final eidolon, when Pela attacks a debuffed enemy, she deals additional ice damage equal to 40% of Pela's attack to the enemy. So as we do see, Pela has a whole debuff kit, with her ult being a massive defense lower, her being able to easily have uptime on the ultimate with all the energy she can give herself, with her E4 also making it to where her skill can become a debuff, helping Acheron in the process, and Jinglu, anyone that's an ice DPS as well, that can benefit from this debuff. Very good, but there is a workaround with a certain Lightcone that if you don't have the E4, the Lightcone definitely does help out a lot. And now actually moving on to her Lightcones, the best one in general for her will be Let Resolutions, Shines, as Pearls of Sweat. What this does is when the wear hits an enemy and if the enemy is not already ensnared, there's a 60% base chance to ensnare the hit enemy. Ensnared enemy's defense decreases by 12% for 1 turn. And at R5, that 60% base chance becomes 100% and the defense decrease goes up to 16%. So this is really good in general just because now you are also getting a defense lower even more if you use her basic attack and skill. And so if you don't have the E4, with this Lightcone, the skill can have a chance to apply this ensnared debuff. This also makes it to where you can also proc the effect of this Lightcone with her basic attack, making her more skill point positive overall. And so this Lightcone overall, with Acheron or with not, is her best option. Another really good free to play option you can use is before the tutorial mission starts. What it does is increases the wearer's effect hit rate by 20%, and when the wearer attacks the defense reduced enemies, regenerates 4 energy, and at R5 it is a 40% effect hit rate increase, and attacking a defense reduced enemy regenerates 8 energy. This is a really good option because when you do attack a defense reduced enemy, which for the most part you will be doing because of her ultimate, you regenerate even more energy to get your ult up faster. And since you do want a good chunk of effect hit rate with Pela, the 40% you get from this Lightcone is really good. So if you do have this Lightcone from one of the first events that we got in Sorrow, this is a really good option you can use with her. And another really good option is Silverwolf's actual signature Lightcone. What it does is increases the wearer's effect hit rate by 24%, so more effect hit rate, as I mentioned previously, is really good. When the wearer deals damage to an enemy that currently has 3 or more debuffs, increases the wearer's crit rate by 12%. That part doesn't really matter because Pela is not doing damage herself. After the wearer uses their basic attack, skill, or ultimate, there's a 100% base chance to implant Aether Code on a random hit target that does not yet have it. Targets with Aether Code will receive 12% increased damage for 1 turn. So this one is really good for her, just again because of the effect hit rate increase, but mainly because the Aether Code. If you do inflict an enemy with Aether Code, they're taking more damage. So no matter who you're using it with, your DPS will do more damage because if they have Aether Code, they take 12% increased damage. So this is another really good option you can use if you have this. But I still would recommend this one overall. If you don't have this one, or if you might not have an R5 and you might prefer before the tutorial mission starts, this would be another option. This is also a really good option. I'd honestly tie these two, but I still think this one is on the top. And moving on to relics, the best thing you can do for Pela is running 2-piece hacker space and either 2-piece guard set or the 2-piece max HP set. 2-piece on the hacker space gives her a 6% speed increase, and you're going to want your Pela to be relatively fast, so this is really good. And these two are just kind of survivability, because this one reduces your damage taken by 8% for the 2-piece, and for the 2-piece on the max HP set, you get a max HP increase by 12%. 2-piece of hacker space and 2-piece of either of these, whichever one you have, is the best option. You can do 4-piece hacker space, which is still a really nice option, but I would recommend that you do 2-piece of this and 2-piece of one of these, because overall you don't really need the 4-piece on her. And so this one would benefit Pela most, giving her more speed and also making it to where she doesn't die, because Pela is a very squishy character. Another thing you could do for a 4-piece is the 4-piece wind set. What it does is the 2-piece doesn't matter because it's wind damage increase, and the 4-piece, after wearer uses their ultimate, their action is advanced forward by 25%. Obviously letting you to attack more turns, potentially more debuffs. More debuffs, the more you can have an uptime, or the faster you can get Acheron's ult. Along with that is attacking more with all the stuff she can do. More times you can attack, the more faster you can regenerate her own energy. So the 4-piece wind set is really good as an option you can use. But again, preferably 2-piece hacker space and 2-piece of one of these. And if you want, you can do 4-piece wind set. Moving on to planet ornaments, the Pentaconi set is one I'd recommend if you are using her with a ice DPS, mainly Jinglu. What it does is increases the wearer's energy regeneration rate by 5%, increases damage by 10% for all other allies that are the same type as the wearer. So getting an energy regeneration rate increase is really good, easier to have uptime on your ult. Mainly, you are increasing the damage of your main DPS, Jinglu in the situation. This one is not the one you'd run if you're running her with Acheron, but if you are running her with an ice DPS like Jinglu, because she's also very good with Jinglu, this would be the best one. Now if you're using on other non-ice DPS teams or with Acheron, the best option would be either Broken Keel, equally as the Aegis. What Broken Keel does is increases the wearer's effect rate by 10%. When the wearer's effect rate is at 30% or higher, all allies crit damage increases by 10%. Acheron does get a ton of crit damage in other ways, so you might see diminishing returns, but if your Acheron's crit damage isn't super high, you can kind of just add on Broken Keel for an extra 10% crit damage. And also, building her with more effect res can mean it to where she gets CC'd less. And again, as I mentioned, Pela is very squishy, so she would not only be taking a bunch of damage, not being able to move means she can't regenerate energy, she can't apply debuffs, and you obviously want to make it to where your teammates do not get CC'd, because Acheron really needs them to apply debuffs to get her ult. So Broken Keel is a really good option. Blade of the Aegis is really good because it gives her 12% max HP, so more survivability, and when the wearer's speed reaches 120 or higher, all allies attack increases by 8%. And the 8% attack increase is really good because, as I said, Acheron does get a lot of crit damage, so at one point you might start seeing diminishing returns. With attack percent, you're focusing less on attack percent and more on the crit stats at first, so with the attack percent you don't really have to worry about diminishing returns. For the main stats for the body, depending on what you're doing, you're going to be running effect hit rate until 67-ish%. So pretty much 65 to 70% effect rate is how much you want to have. If you have that much just from substats, or if you're running one of the Lightcones that give you effect hit rate, you can just run HP percent. For the feet, definitely would run speed. Planar ornaments, you would run HP percent on the orb, and for the link rope, you would run energy regeneration rate. Now for the substats, if you don't have 67-ish% effect hit rate, you want to focus on first effect hit rate. After that, you want to focus on speed, at least getting her to the break point of 134 or higher. Followed by that, depends if you're using Broken Keel. If you are using Broken Keel, you want to get her to 30% effect res, so the actual crit damage for your team does apply. So if you don't have 30% effect res, you definitely want to focus on that. And if you aren't running Broken Keel, or you already have 30% effect res, just focus on HP and defense just for more survivability. And so yeah, that is the full build guide on Pela. As I mentioned, Pela will be one of the best partners for Acheron. Not only that, Pela is just really good everywhere else, so this guide you can apply to using her on a team such as with Jinglu. With any other DPSs, this guide can apply. Because of her universal defense lowering, she would just increase the overall damage of your DPS. Her being able to apply a bunch of debuffs and a good defense lower makes her a prime candidate to run with Acheron. And with the E4 and ice reduction, all that kind of stuff you can do because of her being ice and the same wear as Jinglu, she's also a fantastic option with Jinglu. But again, not limited to those two characters. Because of what she does, you can run her with anyone you want. And so yeah, that has been the video. Hope you guys found this helpful. And for the question of the day, why did you start playing Honkai Star Rail, and who is your favorite character? Me personally, I started when the game came out because I was a big Honkai 3rd fan. I knew about Star Rail before it was popular. There was only a few dozen people that knew about it, and I was one of them. I was super hyped about it. Originally, I was super hyped with Zele, but I think I prefer Honkai 3rd Zele more. But right now, my favorite character is right now Welt and Luocha. Those are my two favorite characters right now, but potentially might become Aventurian. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, let me know, and hope you guys found it helpful. Peace out.